welcome back to the channel, guys. Drew here, and look, many of you have been following along with my Bronco that I just recently put on the platform, and had its own glitches getting everything started. I kind of talked about that earlier in a couple videos, but 3 weeks I had it on the platform, no bookings at all. I had to make some changes, so I want to give you some pointers. I'll give you 4 or 5 things here that when you have a new car and you haven't got bookings, you haven't got any bookings yet, these are things you can do immediately to get yourself rolling. Let's talk about it. Let's jump in. Alright guys, so I had 3 weeks. I did all the stuff I was supposed to do. I built the vehicle out perfect. Everything looked great, and it just wasn't booking. What do? I've been doing this long enough where I know there's several things you can do. Okay, so the first thing I did was I took new pictures. I took better pictures, multiple pictures, better lighting, better colors, better angles, and I uploaded those pictures. Okay, the next thing that I did was I lowered the price. Okay, I talked to somebody in the comments one time. They're like, "Oh, well, I don't want to. My car's worth more than this," and I said, "Look, you can't. When you're first getting started." When the car, a lot of people don't want to be the first person to rent a car when there's no reviews. So the only way you can, sometimes the only way you can overcome that is by lowering your price. I wanted $150 a day for the Bronco. I felt like that's what it was worth. I felt if I was getting $300 a day for my Corvette, I thought I could at least get, I put a lot of money on the tires and rims and making it look the part. I felt like I should be able to get $150 a day. Well, people weren't booking it. So I had to lower the price. I went down to $129. I went down to $119. I went down to $109. Guess what happened? $109, I started booking. Now, if I had gone down to $109 or $99 and it still wasn't booking, then what I'd do is number 3 is I would find a family or friends or somebody who could rent the car for 1 day and leave me a 5-star review. I've paid family and friends $20 to rent my car for 24 hours or 2 hours, and just to get a 5-star review, because a lot of people, especially people who are new to the platform and they haven't used Turo a lot, they're a little scared and nervous about this thing. This is not a rental car agency, and they're definitely nervous to be the very first vehicle, very first rental on a car, and sometimes they they're not even familiar with the app enough to be able to look and see that you've done hundreds of rentals before. So if you've got to, as soon as possible, as soon as you're not getting any traction, pay somebody, your wife, your spouse, your brothers, anybody, rent the car for 1 day. It might cost you 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks. Think of it as a marketing fee to get things started and rolling. Typically, I'll do that, and then maybe I might offer it to somebody else, not necessarily at my cost, but at a heavy discount, just to get 2 reviews. Once you get 2 reviews on the vehicle, 5-star reviews, typically, unless you're crazy with your pricing or you're starting in the middle of off-season, you're going to start getting hits. That's usually all that you need as far as that goes, and the rest will take care of itself for the most part. Now, if it still doesn't rent, then you need to look at plan B and plan C or so forth as far as that goes, and that can be a lot of different things. There's several hosts. I really strongly considered when I wasn't sure if maybe I made a mistake at the Bronco. Maybe I made a mistake going with the 2-door over the 4-door. The 4-door obviously has more practical purposes for people with families and flying into town. But I really specifically wanted the 2-door because I like the look of it, and I wanted to do the bar doors on it that I'll be ordering them and putting them on. So I wanted the 2-door, but I gotta admit, after about 3 weeks, I'm thinking, man, should I have paid the extra money for the 4-door? And so in that case, I contacted a couple of successful hosts. I found in some of the groups and some that I'd known before. One down in Orlando, Florida, another out in Colorado. These are 2 areas where I knew, heavy traffic. And these are hosts that literally, they would take my car, I could ship it down to them or drive it down to them and fly back home. And they would, co-host my car. They would do all the work. And in this type of scenario, it's usually happens a couple different ways, where you either pay a monthly fee of you pay them a monthly fee of $200, $300, $400 a month based on the vehicle, or you pay a percentage. It could be anywhere from, you know, something like that they would really want in their fleet, like my Bronco. It might be as low as 20 or 25%. Typically, it can be close to about 50-50, but it can still be beneficial. And if that doesn't work, you know, number 5 is then you can look to cash out of the vehicle. And if you've bought it right, if you've planned it out and you've done your homework like I've been talking about, you know, it never should be an issue to cash out that vehicle. And hopefully you make a couple $1,000s. Worst case scenario, you break even. And but that's usually the very last resort. Typically, that's not necessary unless you really screwed up on the purchase and or it just absolutely does not fit your market. So hopefully that's helpful, guys. Again, recorded 2 videos for the day because I'll be out of town this week doing you know, the trips we've been talking about, the Corvette trip and a Bronco trip. Hopefully we'll stay tuned for some cool videos with that. And until next time, guys, I'm out. Thanks.